No, this is not clickbait. Today is the day we're finally finishing our 670 mini bike monster. For most of you, you probably could have had this built in like a weekend. But for us, because we are building and manufacturing these frame kits for all of our customers, we thought we were gonna have it done 2 years ago, but it hasn't. However, we're finally going to see, hear, and feel what it's like to have a mini bike powered by a 670cc V-twin engine.
In order for this to run, we need a gas tank. So I'm heading over to a local shop to see the progress they're making on the tank that we designed.
Hello, so this is the front and then this is the back, and if I were to take this...
At first I was excited to finally see it coming together, but when I held this piece up to the frame, something was off.
I think this is wrong. See, the side is supposed to be like this.
Oh my gosh.
Turns out all the pieces for the tank were cut incorrectly, which means they have to rebuild it from scratch. Now, we just have to hope that they can get it done before we leave for the picnic.
Oh man, I'm so glad that we came because for whatever reason, the image got stretched when he was cutting it, so it was all wrong. But that's okay, like, he's gonna figure it out. I know we'll get it sorted, and that's why I'm glad that we did it now rather than it being all welded together. That would have been horrible, horrible.
With the tank now done and the frame painted, we can finally build this bike.
Dad, what are you most excited for?
See it finished, hearing it run, and going for a ride.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible. So hit that like button, make sure to subscribe. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's go.
So what I really love about this build is the paint job. We decided to go with Prismatic Universe. I really love it. There's a lot of different colors in it. And depending on which way the light is hitting it, you can see blue, you can see green, you can see gold, you can see purple, you can see almost all the different colors, which makes sense why it's called Prismatic Universe. It's like their entire universe all in one color, which again, I think it looks phenomenal. Shout out to one of our customers. He decided to paint his bike this color, and when we saw it, we're like, we know that we're gonna use that color for our 670 project. We're pretty much done with the rear wheel. My dad's just gonna finish with the adjusters, and I'm gonna focus on the front end, specifically the front brake. But real quick, so a lot of the times people reach out asking like, who is this frame for? They want to know because they have all different riding styles. You know, some people ride off-road, some people ride on the street, some people drag race. And the truth is, although we designed this bike to be more of like a street cruiser style frame, you can ultimately do whatever you want with it. You can swap out the front end if you want to put beefier forks. You can remove the rear suspension so you can make it a drag frame and put a really big tire in the back if that's what you want to go with. Ultimately, we decided to build something that's truly versatile, and that's what the MBK1 is. So this is going to be a street style bike because it's a 670, but realistically, you could build whatever you want with it. One of the hardest parts of this build was figuring out how we were going to make a gas tank that not only fits underneath the seat, but has enough capacity to run a 670 engine. And so this is what we came up with, and it fits in just like that, and I think it turned out beautiful. So one of the key features to this build is being able to fold the seat up so we can actually access the top of the gas tank so we can fill it up. Luckily, we came up with an idea that allows us to fold the seat forward with a hinge, and then we have a little latch on the end of the seat at the back that comes down and secures itself at the back of the frame. And so we believe this is the perfect way to actually have a gas tank on this bike because realistically, there's nowhere else that we can mount it. So we had to make it work. First impressions is, it works, which is great, and I think it looks really good. In a perfect world, I wish we didn't see the hinge at the front, but that is normal in these situations because the seat needs to be able to pop up and go over. But it works perfectly. And also too, one of the things with this bracket is at first, because we need to get over the frame, we were like, if it was a really rigid bracket here, it wouldn't have any play, which means we wouldn't be able to get over the frame. But because of the way we designed it, the actual bracket itself will move up and down to allow you to fold this forward, which is really great. So the seat itself can come down, lock in place, and there we have it.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works. Look at that.
Did? See? Beautiful.
So the best part about designing and building your own parts is seeing them actually work. But now that we have it right, the best part is we can only make it better. And that's actually our plan. Again, this is just the prototype for us. And when we put this into production in our bolt-on 670 kit, it might look a little different, but it will work just the same. So it feels like everything is going together perfectly. And then it was time to finally mount the engine. But my dad had a great idea. He's like, should we at least try to turn it over before mounting it just to make sure it all works? And luckily he said that because it didn't.
Oh, Jesus. It's alive. Okay, there's power there.
So we started scrambling. We were looking at the user manual. I was going online, watching YouTube videos, trying to find if there's any sort of wiring harness diagram from the 670. But realistically, not too many people have shown how to wire this correctly. They type in Predator 670 engine wiring diagram and nothing comes up. Did you do it? Did you just do it?
Yeah, try.
Is that it?
Oh my God, that's it. So this has to have power.
We probably made the biggest mistake and not take photos or videos of it before we took it apart, but luckily, my dad finally figured it out.
So hold on a sec. Touch that wire there again.
Which wire?
The
This one?
Yeah. Oh, so it doesn't click, right?
It does now.
Hold on a sec. Touch it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to have power going to the carburetor.
Turns out there was a wire that we thought was a ground that was actually supposed to be a positive wire. And so when we connected that to the battery, it finally turned over. And boy, was I relieved. I was freaking out inside because if it wasn't gonna work, then how can we bring a bike to the Pull Start Picnic that actually doesn't start?
Oh man, I'm glad we figured that out.
You figured it out. The one thing about working out of a basement is once you're done, you gotta get the bike upstairs. And the problem is with a 670 being so heavy, it's not gonna be possible. And so unfortunately, we're gonna have to take a pause in the basement and we're gonna have to move up to the garage and take the bike up while we still can, or else the bike will literally never see the light of day and it will be stuck in the basement for the rest of its life. And I don't want that. So let's head up to the garage to finish the build. So when we were mocking all of this up on our prototype 2 frame, we didn't realize that there was a slight difference between the engine plate and where the shock is mounted. And so as you can see, the battery box that we designed doesn't line up with the actual hole in the shock bracket. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and add a couple washers just to push the battery box forward so that we can actually get this connected. I also realized that I need to install the shock the other way because the bottom of the shock here is actually hitting the battery box as well. So I gotta take the shock off and I gotta basically shift the engine forward so I can take care of all of this. So we got everything nice and lined up now. As you can see, the battery box gets bolted to the shock bracket there. The shock, I've replaced it. I have the battery in there. I just had to add nothing on this side because this little arm here is a little bit more flexible so it could bend in. But then if I come to this side, I had to add just a few washers in there just to separate the battery box from the engine a bit more, which is actually good because we get more clearance now for the oil filter. And yeah, everything should be good. So I probably should connect these oil lines. And then the next step is just to tighten everything, make sure we're good there. If you're wondering where my dad is, he still works a normal 9 to 5 while we're trying to build this company. And so I was trying to move forward on this while he's at work. He should be here anytime soon. I'm hoping he's happy with what I've done so far, but realistically, we're just not at the point yet where we both could be doing this full time. Hopefully soon. If you want to help us get there, click the link below, get one of our frames, let us build one for you, and then my dad could stop being a truck driver and he can focus on what he really loves, which is building bikes. I want to see what your thoughts are.
Oh yeah, I like it. So you went right to town, eh?
Well, we gotta get it done. What is left? Realistically, we have the exhaust. Yes, we're gonna have to tighten everything, but pretend that's just not a step. We have exhaust, the torque converter belt, I guess adjust the rear wheel. Oh, and then we also have a key for our ignition right here. We still need to basically bolt it to the bracket, but that shouldn't be too long. This is where our ignition is right here. And what we're gonna do is actually just bolt it to the top of this bracket. Now, moving forward, when we actually create our bolt-on 670 kit, this will most likely just be already attached to the bracket and just bent over, rather than it being its own separate piece. But the nice thing about it being its own separate piece, it might be easier to install. But either way, we just gotta make sure that's connected so it doesn't move or rattle, but we're looking pretty good. We cleaned up all the wiring. It was like underneath, and it's all kind of nice and hidden, and everything is looking really good. So we got the exhaust on there. We actually went and we decided to paint it black. We used heat paint though, so it's not just gonna like melt off, but I think it looks really good.
I can't believe after 2 years, we're finally putting on the final touches, which means all we need to do is put some gas in it and we can finally hear it run.
This is the official first start where we're gonna actually let it go. It's probably gonna be loud, so cover your ears. Oh my God. What do you think? I've been very fortunate to be able to do this with my dad, and there's been some comments that say, I wish my dad was still around to be able to do this with me, or I wish my dad was just interested in mini bikes to do this beside me. And I don't ever take that lightly, and I don't take it for granted. And so being able to build his dream bike with him is so meaningful because he's actually gonna get to experience it. I even know so many people who their parents pass away and then they do something in memory of them, which is truly amazing. But I get to actually share something that he wanted to accomplish with him while he's still here. And so for me, this bike is probably one of the most important builds that I'll ever be a part of. And it's one bike that will be in my family forever. And so any kids or grandkids watching this many, many years from now, don't sell it. It's our bike. It doesn't belong to anyone else. This is the bike that started it all. This was our dream, and enjoy it. Have fun and learn how to ride a mini bike. Maybe not on a 670 because it's gonna be too powerful, but one day when you're ready, it will be there because, like I said, don't sell it. What are your thoughts? Like, this is something you've been thinking about for a long time. This is something that we picked up this engine like 2 years ago, and now it's finally in there, but like, you finally wrote it.
The dream's come true. We finally built a bike with a 670 on it. Just what we planned.
And we can only go up from here because
Yeah.
this is still just stock. Like, this is a stock engine. Like, it needs more power. We know that. Because the governor's in there, it's limited to, I think, 3,600 RPM. And so when you're limited to 3,600 RPM, the problem is, this is probably the same speed as like a 212 or 420 that you've modified slightly. Like, you're not gonna get much more power out of this than you are out of a 212 or something because of the governor. But if we remove it, I think we're gonna get up to, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but maybe 5,600 RPM. I think is what you get when you remove the governor. And then if you add on a proper air filter,
Yeah.
and then you can swap out all the parts internally for billet aluminum, I think you'll get a lot more power there. And obviously people supercharge these engines, not saying we would do that, but there's a lot of stuff we can do to get more power out of this engine. So this is just the beginning.
Yes.
This is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So now that we know it's possible, you do too, here it is. If you want to build your own, hit the link in the description. You could pick up a frame kit, or we could build one for you. If you don't want to have to figure out all of the little nuances, we'll do it for you, no problem. There's an option for custom build or frame kits on our website. And ultimately now, The sky is the limit because it's running. All we have to do is figure out how do we want to make it faster. Let us know in the comments, what would you do if this was your bike right now and you wanted to get more speed? What would be the first thing that you would do to make it go faster?
Also, for anybody wondering whether or not you can do a wheelie on this thing, looks like you can. Hit that like button, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.